are the basic drawbacks of all these conventional methods of irrigation. Now, what are the basic drawbacks of all these conventional methods of irrigation, which we have discussed just now? Number one is, in the conventional system of irrigation, large quantity of water is not properly utilized. This is one point. Number two is that crops are usually subjected to cyclic changes of flooding and water stress situations. By providing heavy irrigation at one time and leaving the fields dry up for a long period of time, for minimum 15 days or so, the moisture availability to the crops therefore keeps on changing, and which affects the total production then, which affects the total yield of the crops. Next is, the fields situated in low areas, low-lying areas, always get excess water, right, which ultimately leads to waterlogging problem. Thus, crops are subjected to waterlogging, resulting in poor yields. Again, this affects the soil also, fertility of the soil. Then, in the fields, about 10 to 15% of the land is utilized for preparing channels and distributions, which decreases the effective use of the area of cultivation. Suppose we have to provide water from one part to the different parts of the field. So for that we need to make certain channels to carry water, and these channels occupy certain area also. Na? In total, if you see the total area which is used up for making of all these channels and all, we find that a big area out of the total agricultural field, a major part, very important part, has been used up for making just the channels. So this way we are actually decreasing the total area which could be used for cultivation purpose. Next is, extensive areas of land in the arid and semi-arid regions of India are no longer used for cultivation due to accumulation of salts. So this is again one big challenge. Now let's talk about certain modern methods of irrigation. Now, what are these modern methods of irrigation? Basically, these methods are furrow irrigation, drip irrigation, then you can say spray irrigation, sprinkle irrigation, right? So these are the methods where you will find that loss of water is minimum, maximum utilization of water is being done. So let's see all these methods one by one. Furrow irrigation, first of all, it is a type of flood irrigation. Basically, when in any area when the flood is being experienced, flood water is there, that water is channelized in such a way that that water is used to provide irrigation in the fields. So it is a type of flood irrigation in which the water poured on the field is directed to flow through narrow channels. You can see in front of you the pictures are there, right? And this water is made to actually provide irrigation to a long area, which is till where the channel has been made. So instead of evenly distributing water throughout the whole field, this actually is carrying water through the narrow channels to the different parts of the field. Okay, the furrows must have equal dimensions, and in order to guarantee that the water is distributed evenly, it should always be observed, right? Always it needs proper check that it is providing proper flow of water or not. Then furrow irrigation is useful in areas where water is easily available. This is again one point related to this. Okay. Next is spray irrigation. You can see this is how the spray irrigation is done. In spray irrigation systems, a long hose is set to a water source on one side, and on the other side the water is released through spray guns to the field. Okay, and this is how the spray irrigation is expensive. The hose and the spray guns and all these are quite expensive. So it's not something which can be used by the poor farmers. But yes, as it requires complex machineries and all, so it is costly. But on the other side, it utilizes water very efficiently. Okay, it reduces the total amount of water needed for irrigation of a field right? In the traditional methods you have seen, lot of water was getting wasted, right? Either by evaporation or a lot of water was getting seeped down. Okay, but in this case, the total amount of water which is required for irrigation is actually less. Okay, so we are saving water in this way. However, water is lost through evaporation. By evaporation, loss of water is seen a lot in this case. And plant diseases also grow up a lot in this case, because excess moisture is there, okay, and overwatering is seen in these areas, and that always actually gives more chances for the development of diseases and all, for growing up of the diseases and the pests, right? So that's why spray irrigation is this is one strong disadvantage for spray irrigation. Next is the drip irrigation. Drip irrigation, children, it is seen in this way also, and especially in the northeastern regions, in hilly areas, it is made with a bamboo shaft. Bamboos are joined with each other, and they provide water in different parts of the field. There are several holes are made in the bamboo, and they carry water to different parts of the field. So that is also drip irrigation, a type of drip irrigation. Now what is it? It is the most efficient method of irrigation till now. Okay, whether you take any traditional means or you take any of the modern means, this is the most efficient. Why? Because certain advantages are there. Number one is that loss of water is minimum, or you can say very negligible amount of water gets wasted, because no evaporation, no water goes waste by evaporation. No water is actually getting wasted by unnecessary seeping down of water in the entire field. Water is dripped down in such a way that water goes directly over that plant and directly to the root. So it is the most advanced and efficient method of irrigation. Usually it is used to irrigate fruits, vegetables, and this system consists of perforated pipes, okay, that are placed between the rows of the crops or buried along their roots, and it gives water directly onto the crops. So the wastage is minimum. As a result, evaporation goes drastically down, okay, it is reduced to a great extent. Then irrigation water is conserved in this manner. Drip irrigation allows the the farmers or the growers to customize and irrigation program most beneficial to each crop. So in this manner, the drip irrigation becomes the most efficient method of irrigation. Next is sprinkler irrigation, quite similar to the the spray irrigation. In this method of irrigation, again, a pipe is fitted with nozzle at the top, right, and it is used through which water is sprayed directly to the required plants. It is often referred to as overhead irrigation method. Okay, in this manner it is moving round and round. So in this manner the sprinkler irrigation works. Now in this case, again, all these the modern methods are quite expensive, and especially all the spray irrigation and this sprinkler irrigation, because these are using expensive machineries. Now let's see the advantages of sprinkler irrigation. There is no loss of water by seepage, okay, or you can say very less loss of water is there, and there is no loss of water by evaporation also. So water is saved. Okay, what are the disadvantages? It is an expensive method of irrigation. This is the most important disadvantage of it. So it cannot be used by the poor farmers. It is helpful for a small land area because it is too expensive, so it cannot be used for a vast stretch of land, and it is used for crops which require less water. In those cases it works maximum. Now what do you think, why there is a need to conserve water? Out of the total water which is present with us, the fresh water which is present with us, almost 90%, 90 to 94% of the total fresh water which is there, it is used for irrigation purpose, irrigation of the fields, agricultural fields. So we need some water to be actually conserved, because we are left with very less amount of water. In the beginning only you have seen that we are just having 0.03% of the total water on earth is left with us, and out of that also 90% if it is used for irrigation, what is left then? And a major part of it is actually getting polluted. Excessive extraction of underground water often results in the lowering down of water table. This is one point. Number two, loss of vegetation causes drought and reduction of rainfall and naturally a low water table. That is again something which is indirectly affecting it. Okay. Next is irrigation utilizes more than 90% of the total fresh water. So we need to conserve water anyhow to fulfill the requirement of the growing population. Next is the demand of water for industrial use is also expected to increase further, because industries are going to increase. Naturally they need more water. So we need to conserve water again. And the increase in population with the progress of time results in water scarcity. So these are a few points, children, which we need to keep in mind when we think of conserving water. There are different methods for the conservation of water, and one of the most you can say important methods these days, it is in practice also in several areas, that is called rainwater harvesting. What is it now? Rainwater harvesting is basically collecting and storing rainwater for our future use. Rainwater harvesting is collecting and storing fresh water, rainwater which we get for our future use. So it includes activities aimed at first of all you can say harvesting surface and groundwater. Number two is that prevention of loss of water through evaporation or by seepage. Okay. Number three is that all other hydrological studies and engineering interventions aimed at conservation and efficient utilization of limited water endowment of an area such as watershed. All these things are undertaken under this rainwater harvesting. Right? These are the main activities which are actually aimed under this. Rain is basically, it's a primary source of water. By the hydrological cycle, we get water by rainfall. And water harvesting means what? It is basically to understand the value of rain. Okay. One example I am giving you in the northeast, where we are getting actually the rainfall, almost you can say the maximum amount of rainfall is received all over the world. Mawsynram and Cherrapunji, these are a few places which are known for it. But on the other side of it, if you will check, these areas suffer a lot of water scarcity problem. What is the reason? They are getting maximum amount of rainfall. Okay. And in spite of that, water scarcity problem is there in that area because the rainwater is getting wasted. So the main purpose, the main motive behind rainwater harvesting is this only. Water harvesting is basically to understand the value of rainwater and to make optimum use of rainwater at the place where it falls. In general, rainwater harvesting is the activity of direct collection of rainwater. The storing mechanism or the water receptacle was known by different names in different areas. It was in use, it was in practice since long time, and it was known in different parts of India by different names. Like you can take the example like Khatri or Kool in western Himalayas, Baulis or Diggis in Gangetic Plains, Johards in central India, Bhandaras or Kere in Deccan Plateau, Surangam in western Ghats, Korambu in eastern Ghats, and Zing in Ladakh region. Now, the water harvesting mechanism. Basically, how it is done. It is done in 4 parts, The mechanism of water harvesting is divided into 4 parts. Number 1 is the catchment area. Catchment area is that where basically the rainwater is received. Okay. The catchment of a water harvesting is the surface which receives rainfall directly. It can be paved, right? Like a terrace or courtyard of a building, or an unpaved area like a lawn or open ground area. All that can be used for catchment. Okay. Temporary structures like sloping sheds can also act as catchments. Here you can see. that is catchment, where directly the rainfall is received. Then there is a channel made from that catchment, that is actually called as conduit. Number 2, these are conduits. Conduits are the pipelines or the drains that carry rainwater from the catchment or rooftop to the harvesting system. Conduits may be of any material like PVC or galvanized iron also, or materials that are commonly available. So that is called conduit. Next is storage facility. Storage facility is basically the rainwater can be stored in any commonly used storage containers, like any you can say a tank is made, right? Plastic tank or RCC masonry, or like that any container can be used for that, a big container. So basically wherever the water is stored, right, that is called storage facility, third step of it. And the fourth step is related to the recharging of groundwater, and that is called as recharge facility. What is it now? Alternative to storing rainwater can be used to recharge groundwater aquifers. This can be done through any suitable structure like dug wells, bore wells, recharge trenches, recharge pits. These are several methods by which the water from the surface, right, rainwater which is coming on the surface, is actually seeping down easily deep inside, and ultimately it helps in recharging the aquifer, recharging the you can say the water table for the underground water. So this is called water harvesting mechanism. I hope this much is very clear to you children. So I want you all to take the best benefit of this video, and before I leave, I must remind you once again to subscribe the channel. Number 2, you should press the bell icon to get the any other video if it is uploaded on the channel. You will get the notification related to that. Okay, and don't forget to share the link of this video with your friends. Okay, so it's time to leave now. So we are going to meet again in the next video. Till then, bye.